Try? You have to.
Now let's go to the consumer who walks into an Oren store or any specialty coffee store, and they see all the beans. They're invariably divided with the identifier of what country they're from. They may have another subheading, such as what farm they're from or something like that, whether this is organic. I guess my question is, I'm walking into a store and I want to find a coffee like you're talking about. What's the best way? What's the best way? How would I have found this coffee in your store?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure how to answer that exactly. We put in our stores. We have the coffees set up by individual countries, individual varietals. When I first opened, that's all we had is straight individual varietals. There was not one blend in the entire store. Anything that you wanted, I would blend in front of you. But now, since we sell a little bit more coffee, and it's easier to keep it fresh, if it's pre-blended, we have a few blends. We note the coffees that are Cup of Excellence coffees. So if you're looking for a Cup of Excellence coffee, it should be noted on the label. We have a program called Orens at Origin, where it's primarily a program where we are all the way in touch with the farmer, whether we have visited there generally ourselves with a follow-up by either us or somebody that we trust. That's not in the normal chain of supply, and where we can use our ability to pay the farmer directly and pay them a premium for quality, so that they understand that we think their coffee is good and they can do it again. I think what we do is really, I try and get the best of each individual origin, of each individual area within the country. Like from Ethiopia, for example, we try and carry both an Ergachev and a Harar. They're two very different coffees from different areas, very different cup profiles. Some countries we only get one. But whatever we do, if the profile isn't good enough, we don't buy the coffee. I try not to be, and our standards are pretty high. So so our offerings in our store should be a high quality offering. How to find something exceptional, like a once in a lifetime, like that Nicaragua might have been. We look for a Cup of Excellence, or we actually, through our Origin program, we had a Colombian that was so good. It was just from two farmers, a small lot, that was about the top rating we ever gave a Colombian coffee. It was so good, we actually had our regular Colombian and this Colombian sold separately. And so we'll try and highlight coffees that are exceptional for their origin.
Define the Cup of Excellence.
It's a program that was originally developed by the Brazilians in order to highlight the quality of their coffee, which was generally not thought of as very high quality. And it was developed by George Howell and Susie Spindler. And basically what it does is, it's evolved a little bit since the beginning, but ideally it gathers top lots from an individual country. They're submitted by farmers to a national jury that assesses the coffee. And those that pass whatever standard they put in place are then held for an international jury, which comes in and spends a week cupping all the coffees at least twice. and rating them. And the top rated coffees, they're rated similar to wine on a 0 to 100 scale. So those that rate 84 or higher then go to international auction online. And we've attended several as an international juror, and we've also participated in some of the auctions where we've purchased at auctions either entire lots or in some cases participated in a group to split a lot.
Well, let me ask you this. If you've been a judge on some of the Cup of Excellence coffees, have you ever had one come in at the top that you said, gee, I tasted that coffee and it wasn't my...
Well, that's actually, for me, for some reason, that's usual. I don't know why, but I tend not to necessarily agree with the top choice. I think that part of the reason is the way the scoring is done. It's easy to give sort of middle marks and end up with a very high scoring coffee. So unless you feel very, very strongly about a coffee one way or the other, it's pretty easy to get a high mark in this. And so my usual technique is to, if I don't feel a coffee is good enough to go to auction, I'll rate it much lower than perhaps it even deserves in order to offset what's sure to be higher marks by others who maybe are not as committed to it and not making it to the final round. So frequently I'm termed the matador on these sessions because I'll try and kill the coffee that I don't. But by the same token, I mean I do rate some coffees over 90. I had definitely there's some excellent coffees, and I don't mean to minimize, but I tend to be pretty tough scoring, and frequently I mean, for instance, the coffee that we got last year from Guatemala, I think it was the number 7 or 8 ranked in the Cup of Excellence. But clearly, for me, it was by far the number 1 coffee. So, it wasn't even close. And we've been selling that coffee. We're just about out of that coffee. It comes in vacuum bags so that the green is kept pristine until we start roasting. And subsequently, somebody submitted that, not me, but somebody submitted that exact coffee to the Coffee of the Year competition that's done through the SCAA and the Roasters Guild. And that coffee, that was the number 7 or 8, I can't remember, in Guatemala, was chosen the number 2 coffee in the world in this competition. So other people must have also thought it was a better coffee than the number 7. So yeah, I'm not too interested in other people's ratings.
So it's fair to say when you have a Cup of Excellence coffee in your stores, it's not only the Cup of Excellence, but it's also past your private...
Exactly. I mean, I like to think that I have a pretty high standard for coffee, and coffees that make our shelves, even if it's not perhaps the best ever that I've had of that particular varietal, if we buy it, it's a pretty good coffee.
In reading coffee reviews, I a lot of times reminded of Garrison Keillor and all the children are above average in Lake Wobegon.